Welcome back to more Oxygen Not Included for our Beginner's Guide. Last video, we went over material uh, science research, kind of getting into your mid-game tech, start unlocking a lot of really powerful things that we are going to want our plastic and steel for. So we went over kind of different ways you could get your radiation using the rad bolt generator, quote-unquote radiation safety, and we built this little array of Wheeze words to kind of work at that. Besides there, we have picked up our last regular dupe for a while in our chef Lindsay here. With ranching and cooking. For now, they're kind of just in stuck in the base duty while they get their skills up. But we have allowed Meep out. We've also allowed our bionics out now. So our bionics will help us with a lot of our building projects once they get going, because they do go very fast. We'll have a lot of really good building dupes. And then also with Lindsay being nyctophobic, kind of just showed off how you can make a very basic system for your dupes that are afraid of the dark so that they get a good night's sleep. It's not a skill. It's not like some of the negative traits where taking this is like absolutely devastating. It's terrible. It's going to cause some problems like flatulent or narcoleptic, and anemic to some extent. But what I kind of want to go over today, while we're still waiting for our plastic to get going, could queue up a little more steel. So we got 170. Make 14 things of iron. And we'll just queue up 17 things of steel. Just have that working in the background. Power grid spikes a little bit whenever the bionics change out with these running, but where we're starting to get an excess of microchips, we may just switch this over to a power plant. We get some energy tune-up if we find we're having brownouts. But what I want to go over today, I think we're finally going to start getting some work of finally loading up this water tank, moving some things around, and going over kind of the low-tech solutions to cooling. Besides oxygen and food, another issue I mentioned of where a colony is probably going to run into issues is with being on mealwood for a long time, and then your mealwood getting out of its temp range. So mealwood only likes to go to 30 degrees. You see the thing, especially with a spawn. Like, see, our spawn, it does work very hot and it's going to put a lot of hot oxygen that our mealwood wouldn't like. You're also, like, our coal generators would be making heat, rock crusher, all that heat. And our mealwood wouldn't like that. If we didn't have an alternative food source, even to the point our environment here we'll have to keep an eye on the hatches. Hatches like up to 40, but they are kind of close to a toasty thing because I wanted these close. So, kind of the annoying thing with Drekos, where Drekos come out very hot, they have a tendency to stifle their mealwood after a while if trying to do glossies. So the ideal solution, and what we're not going to go over today for heat, is doing a steam turbine aqua tuner loop. This is why we are trying to get the plastic and the steel to make these two buildings, which will let us easily... You don't need it to tame the cool steam vents. It helps for doing the cool steam vents. It will let us regulate our base. It'll also... we can regulate our critters. That's going to take a bit, though. So what do you do in the meantime? So we didn't really run into a heat issue, but one of the basic things you can do is, if you are on a planet with a ice biome, you can make a temp shift plate out of ice. Make a temp shift plate out of ice. We'll just... I don't want to make a bunch of water everywhere. We'll throw it down here. you can make a temp shift plate out of ice, and because temp shift plates exchange heat very rapidly with the tiles around them, it'll basically melt instantly. This will give you a lot of cool water, which then can go over your crops to get their body temp down. I do not know if this would work with planter boxes. It would work with farm tiles. So where we had this issue here, because we got this very close to where this liquid was, yes, we're going to get complaints about radiation of our dupes going over to the Weezewort, but like I said with radiation, if it's, as long as we're not going over 100 per cycle, should be fine. He'll pee it out. You pee it out, you'll be fine. I forgot we have this tank of polluted water. For polluted water, I want to keep on hand for things. But anyway, if we were still trying to maximize our polluted water into this reed fiber, gonna crack our reed fiber because I don't have an active. It takes a long time to go through reed fiber if you're just doing suits. But tangent. Where we kind of got through the abyssite and we got into this jungle biome, this very hot water, the air here got hot and we stifled our thimble reeds. So if we wanted to, we could build a temp shift plate here. It would melt and then cool down our reeds. It may take a little bit to regulate, kind of leave the water down, then you just mop it up, do a temp shift plate, and that buys you quite a lot of time. But it's more of a temporary solution. So we're just going to wait here for a... I want to see priorities. I do have the bionics out right now. I don't want to use operating. I do want to use building, though. They do take a little bit to build. Should see with the bionic there, they kind of need some other stuff to get their like maximum utility, but with 20 building, they'll build a lot of what we're going to do very fast. Do there. We built our temp shift plate. You can see it's going up very quickly. It's not going to be ideal just because I have this mesh tile here. It's also cooling down this area very fast. Let's take a minute here for this to melt. So it would work better if I was near plants and stuff. We'd have more to exchange heat with. So right now, there we go. Melts, it would drop that 800k, and then that would spread out across everything going. Then you get a bunch of building melted messages whenever you do it. That'll buy quite a bit of time. But what we're going to do is this twofold thing of we do want to turn this brine and this polluted water into regular water, but they're both very cold. So if I was just run these directly through a desalinator or a water sieve, the pipes would break. So what the plan is, we're going to run them through this radiant liquid pipe to run through our spawn, get rid of some of that heat. So what we're going to do is we need to box. We're just going to box off little area here. Because I do want them to keep their cold. This one we're going to mirror. And the only reason we're mirroring this one is just to... I just don't want to move this wire. We'll mirror this one. The design works well mirrored. These are boxes more so whenever I close it off later. Right now, we're kind of just running in the open. We just have this big, cold heat sink for our metal refinery. But, like, this metal refinery is not staying here forever. We get these built. Hopefully we can see our bionics just really build something up fast. Yeah, and see there. Get a sweep, kind of get our junk out of here. Construct this tile. Just because we're going to box this off. Deconstruct these as well. Oh, Steely got a skill point, which means Steely gets more boosters, so we get complex processing. For now, not doing a lot of stuff that's going to take mechatronics, so let's get them the 2 digging skills. And because they know the 2 digging skills, we'll put them high up on priority. So I'll just take a minute there. Steel is going to grab her skill, come down here, and inhale a cartridge. Operate. I don't know. I'm looking at these. I'm not taking dupes for a while. Just get this around here to kind of show this one off, and then we'll get into not cooling specifically, but kind of a better food storage system. There we go. You can see they're much faster than Meep builds. So we're just waiting for this stuff to get swept. I do have storage container. And then the things we're going to want in here will be, I'm not worried about the temp here. But we want a liquid pump, a hydro sensor, automation. We can just 2-strand this wire. Need to kind of adjust this for later, but we'll just take it out like this. And I have to run. We are doing igneous. We're going to lose a lot of our igneous again. So I kind of want to wait to fill up. Pop out this little thing of brine. This is because I kind of just want to get the pumps to all one element. It's less relevant on the cool slush. It's not a thing that's required. It's more of a thing I want to do. I'm annoyed by this one little blob of polluted water. Hopefully that doesn't get stuck in. Just the reason I'm saying it's not as important for the polluted water is because even though I fill it all with polluted water because it off gases, it'll be polluted oxygen and polluted water. And it's a thing we could update this box we're doing later to then include a deodorizer to turn the off gassing into something useful. But that's a we'll work on it later kind of problem because there are some certain couple different resources we need to really do that. So we are going to take another hit into our igneous supply. We'll probably be doing a big strip mine project afterwards. I want to maximize where I'm putting the chill. So everything going to the swamp, I want to be igneous. After that, I'm less concerned. I can just put it out to the environment. No power. Brown out a little bit. Just because we're running a lot of chargers at once. I could disconnect this too. These two here. It'll be a little easier on the power grid. while we're making our steel, but we're not making tons and tons and tons of steel. Can do. So we get a little... I'm going to make all my microchips first, and then we can start converting them over to excess power. Not have sandstone listed. Sleep only. Double check we have liquefiable. Okay. Everything will sweep to here. Oh, I have... Oh, it's just the graphics bugging out a little bit. But yeah, pathing's a bit weird. It's where a lot of our long commuting is hurting at the moment. Those are some of the low-tech cooling. And then the other project we want to get... And part of the reason I wanted steel, you can do this earlier. Just... The reason why... want to wait for steel is steel has a thermal conductivity of 54, and copper, like, we'll use copper ore. Copper ore has a 4, so it's 10 times less conductive. We're going to make a deep freeze. I'm just going to get some of the stuff down here. Temperature for this doesn't really matter. It shouldn't ever get that hot. We're going to add a little bit of water to help with cooling. But we'll eventually have a base cooling loop. It's more just a safety... Trying to remember how to route this. We route it like that. Gas pipe thermo. Then for later, I do need a gas distributor. So it's a kind of a prelude for when we get into the aqua tuner loop, because it's going to be very similar. The thermal regulator cools, where the aqua tuner cools liquid, the regulator cools gases. So in theory, we could build a big cooling loop using regulators. Could you look at it I can do it now. There's the gas. They use way less power. But they do not use as... I don't believe the cooling delta as much, but the bigger reason is a liquid pipe holds 10 kilograms of material. A gas pipe holds 1. We have 10 times less thermal material. On top of just the conductivity. So we're going to build this to make a deep freeze. So way back with our food, as we mentioned, we want to store our food in a sterile environment. We're going to use hydrogen gas just because it's conductive. The other way I could have built this to be from the bottom, or let gas settle and use CO2 instead. Be a little high. But then the other thing of why we went with the 2 tiles, just because gas is not as conductive, we're going to add a cold plate, which is what this copper tile is going to be. Double check everything. I need in there is in there. This is also why we have the auto sweeper, so our auto sweeper will be able to grab the food. And then we'll just have to add a way to get food back into it, but that is easy to do. Slowly getting our plumbing built there. But the have I believe it's negative 14 degrees in the game to be considered a deep freeze environment. We're going for negative 35 just because we can. Gives us more of a range, especially where we're going to be putting a lot of stuff in, because food's going to be added in very hot. Also need to deconstruct this mess table. A little bit while we get this copper wire built. This will also be one of those projects that is going to very much force us to upgrade our power grid. Okay, so we got all our plumbing run there. And the next set... I think we're just going to run it straight. And these we are just going to do out of granite pipes on this side. Save myself some headache of not canceling it. I'm going to do this one as an igneous insulated. Just so I don't have to wait for it to build and then cancel it and reconnect it, because I want this to stay as an igneous. And then granite across. I'll also do this here because I need granite for coming back, and they'll be able to just build this across from the other side. Our power is going about there. What I need next is some mesh tiles. No, not a glass forge. Have we not researched a desalinator? We haven't, so we'll wait for them to work on that. Yeah, we're going to get the little radiation blips every time they go to fill. There we go, we got 2 kgs of hydrogen gas there, and then we're just going to put some more insulation around it. We're just waiting to get a little bit of research. Still got some stuff we haven't swept. Is abyssalite not on this? I guess it should be. I'd have a red thing. Big nutrient bars. Okay, so we got everything around here now. We also need our conveyor loader here, and this all mostly looks really weird because just making it very condensed. Then, just as a temporary, I can't really do it as a temporary. Put it over there. Okay, we are getting our gas distribution. But anyway, the idea is all our meat and all our food will get stored in here, and then we are going to set this refrigerator to a low amount, so we only have a low amount not in deep freeze. Then this auto sweeper is able to see that tile, take anything out to throw it into the electric grill or eventually a gas range. And then because I can't see this conveyor loader, this auto sweeper can then put anything we cook back into deep freeze. This loader is just a safety measure to, if anything does rot, it will take it, throw it out of our freezer just so. I've seen it, I think I've had it happen once. I think it's just because I didn't have enough gas in it, of just to avoid something rotting and then deleting the hydrogen gas. Because that will, if we don't have deep freeze and sterile, then we don't have a 100% shelf life. So we're just waiting on some research. Because we're unreachable, I believe. There we go. It is in sterile atmosphere now. I think we can also get away of not doing our mealwood anymore. Some of these I might move just because I'd like to put a fridge here that's like sweep-only food to make it easy to get all of our stuff in. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a conveyor rail here. Deconstruct this chute. Bit of a bridging nightmare, but not the worst thing I've ever made. This is just from trying to be very... I want anything edible. All edible and all cooking ingredients. Oh. Helps if I connect them. Bit hard to read with how many bridges I have. This is going in. Especially our bridge, everything this close, even with the overlays, it's... The flow overlay definitely helps make this a little more readable. I have another one that helps illustrate... Here we go. This one here where it kind of illustrates going over the bridges, but where I also have the loaders. The reason I did that there is because I have this refrigerator I want to put here. I want sweep only, all edible. And the reason why is I'm going to set this to 5 kgs. Take everything out. Take everything out. And sweep all this. barbecue, frost buns, and pickled meal. For now. That's what a lot of our food is. And then I'm also going to put this on a priority of 6. Now this sweeper will take the food out of the fridge, put it into the conveyor loader. So think of if you're doing something like that, like I want my dupes to bring it somewhere and then my sweeper to move it. If it's just sitting in your storage, then it's usually because you need your loader to be on higher priority. Okay, so now you get a canister drainer. And I just want this off of my power grid for a second. There we go. We go unbreathable gas, and we fill this with hydrogen gas. This is just super, it's very conductive, so it transfers heat very quickly. And we get the desalinator while we're waiting. Take a little bit for the hydrogen gas. We're also going to enable auto bottle. But they will take it out of this canister filler, because I forgot that big can we had we did release into here. There we go, we got our first glossy. And we can let them in there. Had the ice melt there. So, I need a platform for a desalinator. Okay, so I can do 5 kg a second, so I don't need a lot of desalinator. And build our platform over there. Right, the thing I want to look up is it is 4 wide. This is more for what I know I'm going to place after. I like to have I'm going to put 2 water sieves up here. And then we're also going to put 2 desalinators basically below. Right about here. Gonna wait for the desalinators to get the rest of our piping. Trying to multitask. Okay, so there we go. Just waiting for this to fill up now. So we'll need one more thing of hydrogen. There we go. We got this all filled up. We know it's a full line. The reason we bridge on is to make sure it doesn't overfill. Because a bridge won't pass on if there's gas there. Also deconstruct this canister filler. That's also why I didn't want to power it, because you kind of want to leave one space when you're doing these cooling loops, to make sure you have constant flow once it is powered. Like this tile here, we know it's empty. So where this is running now, we power it, and it'll take a little bit to get this down, but it'll slowly get the copper down. And while pipe empty. Damage overheated. Oh. I forgot the other thing I needed to do. Empty storage here. The thing with the regulators, they will work very hot. Gonna wait a second to repair that. I forgot the other step with this. Reject all these. I could turn the direct lid into meat. Not a big need. Deconstruct these. There we go. Then we empty this. Oh. Get another one. It's not flowing over because of the CO2 here. This is here mostly just to act as a thermal sink for the regulator. And delete these now. Helps if we tell them to move it. Okay, so we got our desalinators here. Keep an eye on our desalinators. They do run very hot. We may need to throw some stuff down for them. Usually, the easy thing to do with your desalinators is go here, down. That all built out. Did my water just get deleted? That was weird. I'm making an airflow tile just to get this that CO2 out of the corner. Actually, the other way I could do it. This is more just the issue of the one tile thing. One element per tile. The 200 kg here. Adding a third bottle may have issues. Unless I'm not over a third of the liquid amount. Which I believe is like 3... because I can have 1 ton of water per tile. As long as I'm not over 300, it won't be flooded. Why's my water... Why did my water get picked up? They have things requesting water. So it's like I'm telling them, like, hey, put this down, then don't use it. Relocate the water to here. Suppose while I'm at it, I do need all this to get power. Keep that running while we're at it. This is also a project if I should have monitored closely. Dupes love to get trapped in these. Okay. Empty. No, finally figured out how to flow out of the way. That's fine. We got 200k per tile. So now we can see the temp's going up a little bit, but we have a lot of kind of water to just sink the heat. This is going to run hard for a little bit, but once it gets down to temp, it will be fine. So the reason I'm doing 2 desalinators and 2 water sieves, one on their own will work fine most likely. It's more just to where I'm going to be running 2 of the same liquid through, because I'm also going to be moving polluted water through later to help with throughput whenever I have multi-liquid. Because wrong liquids won't break your water sieve and your desalinator. If I run water through this, I run polluted water through this, it just passes through. So I can run the polluted water, the brine, salt water, all that through the desalinator, and then the water and polluted water will just pass through the water sieve fine. But it also goes the other way of just make sure your ordering's right if you're doing multiple liquids through. There we go. So we're at -17. We're into refrigeration. We got some stuff into deep freeze now. There we go. Deep freeze. Yeah, -18. Like I said, we'll go for -30, just to give us a good thermal overhead. But there, we have infinite food storage now, so all our food will last until we eat it. For the most part, we've limited this to 5. I find 5 kg is a good number for what they're allowed to take out of the deep freeze at a time. This refrigerator is more for I need to pull a bunch of food out for, let's say, a spaceship or something. Or something wrong got in there, whatever. And then I just have this fridge here of just a sweep only, so we can just mop up any food into there. But you can make this a lot sooner. It is mostly mechatronics and the regulator that you need for it, because you need to be able to get the food out, and then it's just kind of logic of how to place your auto sweepers so you don't get an infinite loop. So if the conveyor loader was here, then this auto sweeper would keep grabbing food and putting it into the auto sweeper, which we don't want to do. It's generally worth waiting until you have steel, just because it helps a lot of your conductivity. But like I said, instead of hydrogen, we could have waited for CO2 to drop down and did it with CO2. Could have done with chlorine. Make a big difference. But there, we have infinite food storage. That'll get a lot more mileage out of our food now. Most of our food is still in... A lot of it's in pickled meal. But the downside, like a lot of this is very stale at the moment. It doesn't really affect much. There we go. Complex processing will also get you on your digging skills. We want to put the boosters in because that's all speed. Okay, all this has power now. So... if I dig this one out... Maybe. Just have to get power to our pump now. Let's wait for this to kind of fill up. At the very least, get the CO2 out of the way. There we go. We got our glossy Drecklets. Still have some wild sleetweed around. Wild sleetweed is a great food source. It's another reason to kind of preserve your ice biomes besides just pre-cooling like we're doing now. It is also, all this wild sleetweed is a great food source. So just because I have the Wheezeworts, we're going to start working through anything I need. Window tiles I may have a use for. We got that there. We're just gonna probably slowly work through our research, and that's just because these Wheezeworts are going to be going constantly. So I might as well make use of the phosphorite. Wheezeworts are also another good kind of low-tech cooling option. All they take is phosphorite. It's very easy to build a more robust Reco ranch than what I have built. Notably, if I built it like an existing jungle biome, instead of doing CO2 on the bottom, I did chlorine. We can do bomb lilies. And bomb lilies require no fertilization. It's one of the probably true infinite food options is like Drecos with bomb lilies. You need a lot of them because they don't give that many calories, but it could have been something we did, and then we have unlimited phosphorite. I'll take a free booster. That's still unreachable. I want to get this blocked off. I need to I want to get this blocked off before I drop this polluted water down. Then we can run our cooling. See if our system even works. The other thing of where I do need to kind of get this water all going, what we're going to add just wondering how water got into there, but I'm guessing it was probably pressure damage. Let's start getting some of our water moved around. I think a lot of it we're just going to do with pitcher pumps rather than run a lot of line anywhere we don't have to do. Yeah, pitcher pumps are great at moving water. We were regular water. The polluted water will probably be pumped. Do need to clear up more igneous rock. Insulation eats so much material. There we can see, like, the regular grader got up to 44 degrees. It might be a little toasty by our dining hall, but eventually we're going to add a cooling loop into here to help with that. There we go. So we got this going finally. So what we want now is a power transformer. Waiting for this one to kind of spill up. At least get this CO2 out of here. While we are waiting, our hydro. I built this out of steel. I did build that out of steel. It's annoying. It's only 25 steel. I don't care enough to get back into there. Steel eventually will be a non-issue, but it is slightly annoying for now. I'm going to run this up for now because I want to link it onto that line. Do want these to just be above 100k. Above 500 also works. Just to make sure we're mostly pumping full lines. And then now, let's power them together. So right now this brine is at -7. We'll see where it ends up by the time it gets into, like, runs through our spawn and everything else. Curious what auto sweepers do more deliveries. Makes sense with the food now. Alright. Look at our brine. Our brine right now is leaving at about 5 degrees. See what it is by the time it hits our spawn. Five, and then what's it going to be when it leaves? And there we go, it's coming out. About -1. By the time it gets into the base, but like it's doing a lot, like the oxygen. The oxygen we're pumping out right now. I think we probably should switch some of this to insulation now because it's coming out at like negative, like almost frozen. It's coming in, our give or take, because we do have the external environment here that's going to be exchanging a lot of heat with. It's been getting for a while, but it is making it so our spawn is nice and cold. Did them backwards. But another thing we could have done for cooling, instead of cooling through the spawn, we could have, if we had a water tank here, we could be taking a lot of ambient heat into our water, running it through the ice biome. A little less precise. Flip these. As always, green to white. You do green to green or white to white, you gotta flip somewhere. We'll keep an eye on the regulator. There we go. Should help with cooling these a little bit. Desalinators do make a lot of heat. The environment, but we are getting some water moved over. So what we want to do now, we're going to these going in. We are going to enable auto bottle on these. So now our dupes will start pitcher pump running these pitcher pumps to get the water moved over to here. Right, and then I want to allow glossy Drecos. Be a sheer Dreco, which means we finally have plastic. Our plastic is pretty much going for the steam turbine. We will need 200 kgs for that, so we'll need to shear one more Dreco. And I guess the next video we can go over kind of advanced cooling to get our base cooled. Get our base cooled, and then we will also get our... probably also work on a cool steam turbine. Just waiting for this to fill up. We have some various liquid to do. But a lot of these temperatures will, once they've kind of run through and normalize our water tank, should be pretty good. Right now, it's just keeping an eye on the desalinators. And then the other thing we want to do is, because we will have a lot of salt, we get a rock crusher to turn all of our salt to table salt for more morale on our food. Will affect bionics. Bionics will salt their batteries. Well, that's good for the batteries, not. Don't know, but it makes them happy. But anyway, that is kind of our basic guide to simple cooling of just got something hot, put it in the cold biome, got cold stuff, run it through your hot stuff. Not ideal if it was, I need to keep everything at, say, 20 degrees for my meal wood, and our base may get a little chilly for a little bit. But it's good enough to keep it away from our base getting too toasty. I do have, like, the little bit of concern with the regulator, but we will run our cooling through here, which will be kind of our next project. We'll be getting our base cooling. So just to help with that, throw down some granite pipes. This is why I left these gaps per floor. I'm going to throw these down now to save me some headache whenever I have to route these. Do want the radiant there. I'm just going to do this here because I don't know which way it's going after. Get this all kind of run down, and I'll have to figure out where I'm putting stuff later. take a 2-seed. But the reason we're doing these pipes in granite is, I believe it... One, you have a lot of granite. I think it's also granite has not great thermal conductivity, but I believe it's better than sandstone. It is a bit better than sandstone. Also looks a little nicer. Yeah, that's here. And then I want to put a little bit of copper into the line just because this is a heat source. It is going to be the main heat source in our base. Is going to be this regulator. Yes, and then we can also get our mess hall back down. There we go. We have salt now to help keep people happy. It'll take a little bit for this all to fill up. Kind of the other nice thing of doing 2 of these, just because the way they only output half or less of a line, is why I like to do 2, because it takes 2 to do a full line. Especially the desalinator and to a lesser extent the water sieves, they have downtime because we have to empty the salt as well as supply the sand here. So it just helps to make sure they're always running. So, and then we just have everyone kind of slowly getting the water moved. And then we did run our line in advance so that once this gets low, we can switch over to this liquid pump. But there, we do have it here. We have our plastic, we have our steel. 3 more things of steel. See that little blip of CO2 to get out of there. Dig out the abyss light now. So let's also add our steel. We have lots of steel, because our steel is mostly needed for aqua tuners, so we have enough to build 2 aqua tuners. At the moment, we need 1, 2, 3 aqua tuners to do all of those projects. Plastic, we have been waiting on for steam turbines. We need 200 per. We also need a bunch of other refined metal. We're just going to make them out of copper or iron or whatever. So, like I said, we're not in as bad of a heat issue now. Like I said, there's regulators putting a lot of heat into our base, but we're kind of spiked up right now. It's not going to get that much hotter now that we have kind of cooled down our food reserve. Our kitchen's also going to make a lot of heat, so we may add copper here, but we'll get to that more when we start talking about the aqua tuner loop. But it helps if I have research going, so I think I'm just going to start up at the top and we're going to work our way down, because I don't like wasting the phosphorite here. I think it'd be it for this video. Kind of went over the basics of cooling, the low tech that kind of just make it work kind of options, and we've been using those. We did that for the metal refinery. We have finally tapped into this slush geyser, just helping with our SPOM. Once this fills up a little more, we'll get this into it. Take a detour into here to get this polluted filled as well. Let's get all our water moving. Just the thing of where we are going to be mixing like clean and dirty water. There are germs here. Oh yeah, slime lung. Slime lung is everywhere, but we're in Atmosuits. Yeah, guess we don't have any in there. Trying to find any of... I guess I don't have food poisoning in any of my water at the moment, but... this one will. We'll have food poisoning to our water, so... Our water will be good for stuff, but not, like, fit for consumption. Then we can also get this overflow from this bottle drainer. We do need to start getting this dealt with. Or no, I don't want it going that way. I want an overflow. Anyway, we just have to kind of go get the rest of our water process, start getting our water moved, and then we will move into getting an aqua tuner loop to cool our base, start getting the water from these steam vents. And I think finally just strip mine out most of the remaining asteroid. Then we can start looking to work on our teleporter planet and start getting space going. But once again, that'll be it for this episode. I think it'll be a couple cycles before we get into... I guess I did get enough. It'll be a couple cycles before I get into the cooling loop. I gotta get a lot of clearing stuff cleared out, some routing. I think actually clean up this power grid before we move on to setting up turbine loops, because I will need conductive wire. And the reason we will need conductive wire is a aqua tuner takes 1.2 kilowatts. Conductive can go up to 2. So we're going to have to get some conductive wire made, which means let's just queue up. Do I want to make... I got a lot of stuff I got to do refined right now, so let's just do a full 99 stack of copper ore. Look at that process, we'll get some stuff cleaned up, and then we'll be back to do part 2 of cooling for kind of advanced mid-game cooling. Anyway, thanks for watching.